Knicks Nation, what is going on? It's your boy David from Top Bunk Sports, and I got another Knicks on Top post-game video for you guys today. It is February 8th, 2026. I'm recording this video at 3:38 in the afternoon as we just finished wrapping up a dominant victory from the Knicks against the Boston Celtics in the fake garden. I mean, you talk about a bounce back victory after getting blown out on Friday against the Detroit Pistons. Not everybody was healthy. Jalen Brunson was off. Josh Hart was nowhere to be found. You didn't have Cat. You didn't have OG. You don't have Deuce. And this was the debut of the Grand Theft Auto Jose Alvarado, and he had a decent game today, to say the least. He had a decent game today. Kind of made his presence in the third quarter, going into the fourth, a little bit in the second half. But again, being able to show people that he is a defensive presence, you love to see it. He had a very solid game today. I mean, it was a really dominant victory overall, and I think it started with the defensive presence that the Knicks gave the Boston Celtics. I mean, doing what they could to eliminate Jaylen Brown and eliminate him out of that offense. Really nothing much the Celtics could do. He had 26 points, but it wasn't an efficient 26 points. I mean, he was shooting 11. He shot 11 from 20. He shot 11 to 26 from the field. He was 0 for 4 from 3. The Celtics as a team really didn't have a good game from the 3-point line. If you look at their team stats, they were 7 of 41 from 3. And the one thing that we've always said about the Celtics, even from last year, is that they always rely on their 3-point shooting. Again, their 3-point shooting is their kryptonite when it comes to a lot of these teams. However, it's also their Achilles heel. Last year in the playoffs, when we played them in the second round, they shot themselves out the game. Let's be honest. They shot themselves out the game. And at the end of the day, it comes to a situation where you're like, listen, they're if they're hot, they're hot. Like, we got to make adjustments. But if they're gonna shoot those threes and they're not on point, then we have a chance in this. We have a chance in this game. But the Knicks, from the very start of the first quarter, were quick on offense, getting everything in transition, and then the aggression on defense. It was awesome. It was awesome to see. And I've always said, like, again, their new pickup, right, Vucevic, he has really good numbers against the Knicks. But I feel like the more that we played Chicago, especially last year, the more he wasn't effective against us. And I remember telling Eddie when I was doing his, I always mention Eddie because I'm always doing the post-game show with him. But I remember mentioning to Eddie, like, I don't think he's going to be that efficient for the Celtics when it comes against us. And Eddie was trying to tell me, like, dude, like, he could be a problem for us. I don't think so. Why? Because they really need to set him up to score. And when it comes to, I mean, Chicago, for the most part, at times when you didn't really get no other scoring from anybody else, at times they'll put him in a post-up situation, right? He'll set a pick and roll. He'll come off the pick. He'll roll to the basket, and they got him. But you need to get him going consistently. With Vucevic, is like, if you don't get him going consistently, he's not going to be effective in the game for you. So knowing that and understanding, like, what you have, right, and knowing how you can eliminate that. And I told them that you put Vucevic in a pick and roll situation in terms of him trying to get out of that pick and roll, he's done. He's food. He's not gonna be able. I mean, he took some crazy shots today. He took like 3 threes today that I was like, gee, I was like, yo, those are nasty. And I'm like, you down at least 15, 17. Joe Mazzulla, I know damn sure doesn't want you shooting that right now. But again, I don't think he wasn't a difference maker for the Celtics today. And that's just what it is. And then again, when you're holding their best player to 26 points and he only made 11 of 25, you're not gonna win like that. And then you obviously you haven't made a shot. So it's just a matter of the Knicks being able to take care of business when you need to and you're playing the right way. And what I mean by taking care of business when you need to, it's just the teams that you know that you're better than, right? And being able, obviously you got to beat them, but also being able to be aggressive and to be a determinant factor against teams that are contenders and that people are kind of like, oh, they can't beat them, right? We've already proven we could beat the Celtics. We got to prove that we could beat Detroit. We got to prove that we can consistently beat the 76ers. Those are the teams that we're looking at. And this is why yes, we put the Celtics at a high pedestal because they are the Celtics. But when it comes to a playoff series, I don't think that the Boston Celtics are a threat. Atlanta's more of a threat. Call me crazy. Orlando's more of a threat. Call me crazy. Philadelphia is more of a threat. And that's not crazy to say. Detroit is a big threat. And that's not crazy to say based on where they're at. So again, you gotta watch these teams and kind of evaluate them in a certain way. This is why I'm not shocked. The Knicks held them to 89 points. Why? Because it was aggressive defense, right? Isolating their best player. You had strong offensive possessions, scoring in transition, leading by the captain who was going off. He went off for 31 points. He shot 12 of 21 from the field. You know what I'm saying? Like, you had aggressiveness the entire way through. And I'm sure that the way they got bitched out in Detroit did not help them. You know what I'm saying? The way they got bitched out in Detroit didn't help them. And obviously, I kind of give them a pass for Friday's game against Detroit because of the fact that they were missing so many guys. But at the same time, it's like you still have decent guys that can go in there and that can make a difference maker. They couldn't do shit that entire game, especially in the second quarter, because that first quarter was dreadful from both teams. Both teams could not score consistently, right? So in the second quarter, Detroit kind of picked up the pace, and that was all she wrote. But when you don't have anything from Mikal Bridges, Jalen Brunson played the way that he played. Josh Hart obviously played the way that he played, and then he got hurt. Like they got punked out again for the second straight time in Detroit. So coming into this game against the Celtics, they know, listen, we're playing two teams back to back. One's in front of us, right, and then the other one is literally ahead of us by literally a game. We need to take care of business right here in Boston. We need to handle business. And that's all that it was. But I want to look at some stats real quick just to kind of go over like I usually do. So let's look at some stats right here. Again, you got the team stats, and then obviously you got the game leaders, Jalen Brunson, with a beautiful game, 31 points, while Jaylen Brown had 26. Like I said, 11 and 25 from the field. Really wasn't that effective. Karl-Anthony Towns, 10 rebounds. And let's look at Cat stats, by the way, because I know he didn't have a crazy game, but I do know that when it comes to Cat, he's starting to play much better. Again, he didn't really have a good game today, but he was a plus 10 in point differential, so you like that. Again, making a difference in terms of rebounding, in terms of stops. Again, only 11 points, 3 and 9 from the field, is 0-2 from 3. He was good from the line. Again, like I said, 10 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 turnovers, but again, a plus 10 in point differential. Not gonna cut him some slack, because as a second option, you should be having more than 11 points. You should be your field goal should be higher than this. So I'm not gonna give him some slack, but you like the fact that he wasn't in a negative tonight. Josh Hart, 19 points, 7 of 14 from the field, 2 of 6 from 3. Beautiful, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. 10 plus 10 in point differential. Josh Hart, again, making some timely shots, and that's why I said it was beautiful, because there were some shots that he was making that were wide open, right? There were timely shots. There were shots that he was able to find space on and really make them. Didn't hesitate at all. You like that. Again, he looked a little bit frustrated in at least in the second quarter. So throughout the game, they were leaving him wide open. He was able to come off the dribble, make some shots, use a pick and roll a little bit, just a little bit. But he was, again, making those shots with no hesitation, no problem. Mikal Bridges, +2 in point differential. But again, one of those situations where he's doing this. and I gave him credit for the first half because I said he was having a nice first half. He had 11 points in the first half. He was shooting 60 something percent from the field, but then he started to go down. And I don't know if that's necessarily a coaching thing. I don't know if that's necessarily just him. But at some point, we're gonna have to figure it out. Mikal Bridges is gonna have to be a difference maker scoring wise when it comes for this team. Okay, and if that's the playoffs and that's what it is, then so be it. Then so be it. But you need to be a difference maker. If you're not a difference maker, I don't know what you're here for. I don't know what your value on this team is. Landry Shamet, again, really didn't have a good game. Shot 1 3-pointer, and that was a 3-pointer that Cat gave to him when it was like a give and go type shit. A -1, and obviously Jalen Brunson taking over, 31 points, 12 of 21. Like I said, he was 4 of 8 from 3, did whatever he wanted. Didn't matter. Nobody could guard him. Nobody could stop him. Was a +20. If you look at the bench today, Mohamed Diawara, Mike Brown put him as a defensive player of the game tonight. 10 points, 4 of 4 from the field. He was 2 of 2 from 3, 3 rebounds. Just a beast. A beast. Literally a beast today. +22 in point differential. And then the debut of the Grand Theft Auto 5, Jose Alvarado, 25 points, 12 points, 5 of 12 from 3 from the field. But you love to see the aggressiveness. He had 2 rebounds, 2 assists. He had 2 steals. He was a +13 in point differential. Those steals turned into buckets, right? Those steals turned into game scoring buckets. And then obviously he shot a couple threes. He shot maybe 2 or 3 threes. But again, you're seeing the presence that he brings. He shares a lot of common things that Deuce McBride does, right? He could shoot the ball for sure, right? He's not consistent. Deuce McBride is more consistent, but he's a playmaker like Deuce. He could play defense like Deuce. He's quick like Deuce. Everything that Deuce McBride has that we lost, Jose Alvarado gives that to you on the court, and you absolutely love to see that. That is 100% awesome. We appreciate Jose Alvarado, and again, he's home. He's home. He's playing with his favorite team. He grew up a Knicks fan. The Knicks see something in him. He provides a lot on both ends of the court, and they asked him, how it felt, and and he basically said, "Yo, it felt like home. It felt like home." So shout out to him. He's a much difference maker when he's on the court. Now let's get straight into the highlights. As we look at this one right here. I love this one right here.
And Shamet steals it. Shamet then got Bunk, no call. Bridges ends up with it. Wow, he finds Towns. And Shamet.
A sexy pass, man. That was beautiful. That was beautiful as we go up. Then Brunson taking over. Brunson
Like what happened the other night
heater.
against Miami when they got down 22. They were 1 of 20 from 3 at the half. Brunson lays it in. Brunson a 3. You bet. Like what happened the other night against Miami when
too easy. And this too, the refs are horrible. I kind of mentioned, if you guys remember, there was a point in the second quarter, I believe that it was, where Jalen Brunson attempted a 3 in the corner, and I forgot who was guarding him, but he stepped on his ankle. They didn't call it. So then, Jose Alvarado went to attempt a shot. They should have, according to what everybody's saying, that should have been a foul, right? That is payback for not making that call on Brunson. So anybody complaining about that, y'all don't know what the hell y'all talking about. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Let's keep it going. Get out of here real quick. All right. Don't see some more right here. Oh, you talking about stop
for the Knicks as well. Two teams got to protect the basketball. Here's Towns muscling in right through Queta.
You love to see that from Cat. You love to see that from Cat. And then Jose Alvarado.
Timeout, post him up.
Alvarado buries the three. Something like
Mohamed Diawara. Yo, Mohamed Diawara.
Brown with 2 on him. Hugging conversation. How about that? We got to go all 4 to boots. I know Breed smiled at home watching. I think so.
The confidence on this kid, and I spoke about it in my last video when we were discussing the 8-game winning streak and our loss to Detroit. The confidence on this kid is putting him in a position right now, especially with a contending team, where he's just building. And he's learning from so many vets that have won. And I'm not saying won like in terms of championship. I'm saying straight won as like these guys know what it takes to get to the playoffs and to play at a high level. He's learning so much, and the confidence is there. So shout out to him. Mohamed Diawara is a beast, man. And then right here, I talked about Mikal for a second. Again, Mikal didn't have a good second half, but what he was able to do in that first half, again, 11 points is 11 points, but there were things that he was doing off the ball that were contributing and helping the Knicks in transition.
Just got a really good look, and the ball doesn't stay in.
Great looks against a team who's really been defending well. Bridges able to hit. It's an 11-2 Knicks run to secure his 5th rebound.
D-White is not shooting the three nearly as well this year as he has recently. He's down 32%.
Oh, what a move. Bridges lays it in. But he is really grimacing. Bridges, another great cut. And
just got a really good look, and the ball doesn't.
Understanding that there's no defensive pressure on Mikal, and then Mikal's taking that for his advantage. And you see here another layup for Jose Alvarado. And then
Shireman's free in front of his bench, so Mike Brown not happy the way they started.
Alvarado
Get him happy.
buries the 3.
Alvarado saying, like I mentioned before, that he felt like home. And then look, doing it.
The heat check, Jose made a big 3.
And now looking from behind, which he does.
He does it so much that you wonder, like, how the hell don't teams prepare that? Like, he does it so effortlessly. It's crazy. And then obviously the dagger.
Bronson, you bet. Hits it.
And the Knicks will go on to win. So again, nothing crazy. A big that's a big win for the New York Knicks in terms of how they came out. They started off well in the first quarter, and they didn't keep their foot off the brake. Again, they were able to isolate Jaylen Brown, and they were able to keep the Celtics cold. Obviously, even eventually on some pick and rolls, especially with Derek White, who loves to be in a pick and roll action all the time, he's gonna find the wide open threes. He wasn't really making them. So the Knicks were able to keep him calm off of threes, and they were able to attack them and utilize their mishaps on defense. And you love it. You love to see that the aggressiveness on both ends. All right, this was a very, very big win because of who you faced, right? And because they were literally right there with you in the standings. With this win, the New York Knicks take sole possession of second place, and it's a huge statement win. And now you could come home, get a breather, play a really solid game against the Pacers. Hopefully that's a big one that they take with no problems. And then you gotta come back to play the 76ers after the 76ers, because you gotta go to Philly to play the 76ers again. So that's gonna be a tougher one, especially because you took a win from them on their floor. Remember, it was 112 to 109, and then you come home to get your rematch against the Detroit Pistons in the Garden, and hopefully some of the guys are healthy enough to where we can add more bodies. So it's a tough schedule coming up, but this is what you're made for. This is what you get ready for, and yeah, man, I'm excited. But with that being said, this is your Knicks on Top post game video. The Knicks dominate the Boston Celtics, 111 to 89, and yeah, man. to your guy David. Make sure you guys follow me at Top Bunk Sports on X, Instagram, and TikTok. Make sure you subscribe to the Top Bunk Sports YouTube channel. And until then, I'll catch you guys on the next postgame. Peace out.